Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ask the Experts with MASA. Today's question comes from Jose in San Antonio, Texas. And the question is, he basically is asking about the right conditions to mount a canopy on a wall. Walls are different. We all know that. And there are different attachments required, and there's a whole bunch of information out there you need to know. But basically, here are the two things that you need to look at when you're talking about mounting a canopy and what the right conditions are. You have to look at, first of all, the canopy itself. So we're talking purely about how the canopy is going to sit against the wall. One thing you need to keep in mind is that you do not want this canopy recessed into the wall because that is just inviting water to come into your wall. So the canopy itself, here's one of the big things. The canopy itself should have gutter on every edge. So if you can picture that canopy system, rather than having that open edge, which usually ends up against the wall, you need to have gutter every side of that canopy. So what you end up with is a gutter edge that's going to be sitting against your wall. Now, that's certainly not the only thing you need to keep in mind, because the type of the wall, how that wall surface is set up, matters a lot too. And if you don't have the type of wall surface, if it's not prepared correctly, then it doesn't really matter how much gutter you have up against the wall. So here's the thing with the wall surface. The wall surface needs to be a smooth, flat, even surface for that canopy to sit against. And of course, there are all kinds of different wall surfaces to look at. You have some that are more basic, that might not need a lot of work, like concrete slab or something like that. And that's easy because that's pretty much smooth, flat, and even on its own. But most of the time what you end up with is something with some texture to it, with some irregular shape or size. So you're looking at something like split-faced block. And that's uneven. You're looking at that decorative stone surface, something like that. Any kind of textured, rough, bumpy, uneven type of wall surface. So you're going to need to have that flattened out in some way. So with that decorative stone, basically what you're going to have to do is whatever section that canopy's edge will be mounted against, that stone needs to be shaved out of there. And then you need to add some wood blocking kind of right behind there where you've shaved it out, because you've created a hole. You've created a kind of a recess. And remember, you don't want that. You want the canopy to sit flush against that wall surface. So you're shaving out that decorative cultured stone, you're putting your wood up there, and then you're mounting your canopy right up against it. For the split-face block, kind of similar thinking, but with that block, you're going to cut out sections of that block. So here's a block, you cut it out of the wall. Here's a block, you cut it out of the wall. What you're doing then is flipping that block. So that way, the textured front side of the block now becomes the back. And then you have that smooth edge of the block that was inward facing is now outward facing. So again, you've got that smooth, flat, even surface. And that's basically what you need to know, because then what you end up with is a smooth, flat, even surface on the wall, the canopy's gutter edge right up against, tight up against that smooth, flat, even surface. And then right up at the top where they meet, on the top edge of that gutter, you have a little bit of silicone there. And that's a perfect mount. That is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And if you do it that way, actually, it's even self-flashing. The water has nowhere to go but into that canopy's gutter and draining wherever that you have planned for it to go. So that is really the perfect setup. Remember those two important parts. One, gutter on every edge of that canopy. Two, smooth, flat, even surface for that canopy to mount against on the wall. So thank you for your question. Very good question. We get asked that one a lot. Hopefully that helped you out, and stay tuned soon for another Ask the Experts with MASA.